Groaners, it's that time of day again. We are recording a day later than usual. One, because I was tired on Friday, and unfortunately also had some PC problems today, which means even later still. It's around about 11:15 at night in the UK when I'm recording this, so I might just be in time for the facts today, even if it's recorded today and published for Sunday. At least I've recorded in time. So my apologies, Groaners. Keep your ears open, because this is the 124th run into the Groan Zone. Marley B from Ontario has sent a Discord DM in this week as her groan. We've also got content up the wazoo, and the games are as follows: Give Me the Question, Talking Nonsense, and Who the Hell Am I? No mucking about this week, straight in with my groans. And unfortunately, because it's so late, there is no live audience, so I'm counting on all you groaners at home to play the games as you listen to this episode. Here come my groans. When you arrive late, and it's not your fault, for something and the knock-on effect afterwards. You try to set off early, but then factors mount up on you. You end up leaving later than you wanted, meaning you arrive late. The aftermath means your whole plans have gone to hell. I hate when things like this happen. When your stomach goes insane. So, as far as I know, I don't have IBS. No offense to those who do, I know that's a real pain, but my stomach knows what it likes and doesn't like. At the time, I could be enjoying a walk or something like that. My stomach and body will then go, remember that food you had yesterday? You're gonna regret it now. I then have to morph into a combination of the Terminator and Usain Bolt as I both run to and detect the toilet. Stuck in a rut. I'm sure most of us have been here. Some of you listening may even still be there. I remember when I didn't have a job after college. All I would do was get up, eat, turn PC on for hours on end, eat again, PC more, then finally go to bed. All that changed day by day was the time I got up and went to bed. I wasn't on the dole, that's like benefits here, but I was just stuck fast in a routine rut. I met loads of people online, however, but that's all that came out of it. I hated being stuck in a repetitive routine rut. And on that note, that's my groan sacrifice to the groan god. Here's hoping they bless us for another bountiful special sometime in the future. We'll hear more groans from one of you out there in Groanland later. Admin Nicole has been fact-finding yet again for 2 special events going on in the world. We'll split them into 2 fact bursts, just like last week. Fact burst number 1, Carnival, 28th of February to the 8th of March, just in the nick of time. The origin of this colourful and vibrant festival is linked to the Portuguese colonists, who brought this tradition to Brazil, probably inspired by the so-called Entrudo, a Portuguese festival. Gradually, over time, the influence of African cultures brought to Brazil new music and dancing. The blend between Portuguese and African cultures created what is today the world's largest and most famous carnival. The first carnival recorded in Rio dates back to 1723. However, it should be noted only in 1920 samba schools were established in the city, and samba became an integral part of the parades. Samba schools are established among neighbourhoods which collaborate and practice together the choreography they want to perform during the carnival. King Momo is a mythical creature who kicks off Rio's carnival. The figure of King Momo derives from the Greek mythology and is associated to mockery and satire, 2 typical aspects of every carnival. In Rio's carnival, King Momo is normally played by a well-known person with a large physical stature. Regardless of its origins and appearance, what's important is that the party does not start until King Momo decides so. We'll have more facts, see what I did there, about a special day later on in the show. Now we must lose all sense of English and try to suss out the reverse with talking nonsense. You all know this one by now. 3 rounds, 3 words backwards. You'll get a clue, followed by a word, but the word will be in reverse, aka nonsense. Round 1. This can turn you upside down and side to side very fast. Your nonsense is hello. Pause here. Have a little think, Groaners. Answer, then unpause. Round 2. You can have this on you to be mysterious with your identity. Your nonsense is same as round 1, Groaners. Pause here. Have a little think. Answer, unpause. Round 3. You do this at Carnival, not at a fun fair. Your nonsense is yes, not. Pause again. Have a think, Groaners. Answer, unpause. Think your brain flipped the reverse around? Answers will come later in the show, Groaners. You'd think we'd have more sense now, but unfortunately we must stay with the silly as we ask, what the? I'm going to start this section off with one line from a news report, and yes, this really has happened. New Zealand's Mount Taranaki is now legally a person. So this former mountain, I can't believe I'm saying this, now has all of the rights that a human has. Oh boy, I cannot wait for some daft bint to try to marry it, or the tax office in New Zealand trying to make it pay taxes. Let me end this brief segment by dropping some knowledge. It's a flaming mountain! And all that leaves me to say with this section is what the? Staying abroad now, we visit the land of kangaroos and koalas, which is of course Australia, for this week's Oohh Unlucky! There is a species of spider called the funnel web spider. However, nature, not being satisfied by that, has decided, stuff you humans, I want bigger. She's only gone and made an angrier version of the spider itself. It also needs a wide berth as it sends a copious amount of venom into the next poor fool it bites. Australia, you are definitely unlucky for this happening in your country. Let's fend off nonsense and unluckiness now with Gimme the Question. If you forgot this one, this is where I give you the answer, but you Groaners have to match it to the right question. 3 questions per round, and unfortunately because we've got no one live, the game may be a bit faster than normal. Round 1. Your answer is 11. Your questions are A. How many people have played Batman? B. How many Superman movies have been released? Or C. How many actors have played Spider-Man? Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Ready? Round 2. Your answer is Rudebaker. Your questions are as follows. A. What is a form of martial arts focused on hits to the midsection? B. What is a closed-in type of gondola used in Venice? Or C. What is an American name for the vegetable known as a swede in the UK? Same as before, Groaners. Pause here, have a think, answer, unpause. Lastly, round 3, your answer is 7. Your questions are A. How many people did the Predator kill in the first movie? B. How many Alien movies are there in the franchise? Or C. How many years were there between the 2 attempts on Sarah Connor and John Connor in Terminator 1 and Terminator 2? Only one of those is right, Groaners. Just one. So look at your film knowledge and think. Pause here, have a think, answer, unpause. Answers to come later, but now we manoeuvre into the darker corner of the show with Creepy Corner. Your story for this week is called To Love Myself. It was bleak, dark and lonely, yet it wasn't cold in this inky dark prison that she created. This so-called fake Valencia willingly gave up everything to save the one she loved, even if she now believed they couldn't possibly love her back. So here she was, trapping herself along with a monster that had now consumed the old man's son. Yet looking around, she couldn't see it. Perhaps it was as simple as not knowing how large she made this prison. Maybe she didn't realise what she had done. As she stood and looked around, many screens flashed around her, each showing a different memory. All things she never thought she deserved. The more she rejected them, refused to look at them, the more they began to surround her. they gave her no choice but to look. All kinds of memories. The few good memories she had from the family she was born into, the memories of her utter misery whenever she was alone, the pain she felt from always having to smile, the hatred she had for herself over being the perfect child, one who could do no wrong, one who could feel no pain, one who could never break. She knew from very early on that she couldn't afford to show a single crack in the facade that earned her parents' love, but maybe it's because she tried so hard that it ended up breaking all at once. Her broken teeth that day ended up being the very thing that set her free. It led her to all of this, to a real family. No more lies, she thought, yet she was wrong. All these memories forcing themselves on her, forcing her to relive that pain. She knew she was a fake. She knew she wasn't real. She knew she didn't belong. What she didn't notice, as she sat on the warm dark floor however, was a light forming behind her as a hand rested on her shoulder. It's alright to cry. It's alright to think that none of this is alright. Yet our memories and experiences made us who we are. No matter what happens, you are loved, the voice said. The fake Valencia refused to turn around, instead choosing to dispel the voice, knowing it was no more real than she was. So instead the voice walked round to where she could see it and lifted up her head from her arms. The fake Valencia burst in even more tears as she looked that voice in those eyes. It was the real Valencia. She had never left. Yet she told the fake Valencia that enough was enough. Perhaps it was wrong of me to make the darkness promise to keep my secret. I was worried you might react this way if you found out. You will be loved no matter what happens, and you are not a fake version of me, nor my real version of you. We are one and the same, she explained. The real Valencia brought forward a long hidden memory that she herself had buried. It was the conversation she had with the darkness right as she died. No matter what happened, her body would never have survived when she sacrificed herself, so the darkness ripped out her soul at the very last second. However, darkness alone is not enough to bring her back to life. By all counts, Valencia was deceased, and while the darkness could give her a new body, made of its own form, it couldn't bring her back. For that, Valencia would need to track down the blood of the dead, naturally a reaper. The darkness gave her a new body mixed in with Raven DNA and the darkness itself. Its appearance was only able to resemble her old body on account of the soul that inhabited it. A mix of who she once was and what she was now. Not quite the same, but not quite different either. It would take a lot of both of them though. Valencia knew it would take her a long time to recover, and in that time, her body would create a new persona. One that could fill her place while she recovered. That's why she made the darkness promise not to tell anyone. Whatever happened, whatever persona was created, it was still her, and no one needed to know any different. The fake Valencia didn't understand. The real Valencia was only woken up because of this prison the fake one created. She was finally given enough energy to awaken and return, but now the fake Valencia was willing to die to give her loved ones the real one back. The real one smiled at the fake and took her hands as they stood surrounding an empty ink black void. This body is mine, this soul is mine, but in essence, they're also yours. So one of us must take control and the other must die. That's what you're thinking, isn't it? In my absence, you helped me understand love in a way I couldn't before. You grew softer without yielding that tough exterior of ours. Yet you still use my willingness to sacrifice yourself for others and the need to do the right thing. Do you understand now? The real one said. The fake shook her head in confusion, but still held on to the real one's hands and the comfort they gave her. I am real, yet parts of me don't match the me that I am now. You're not a fake, and yet taking over will lose the parts of me I was. You love them as much as I do, but this body can't work with two personas in charge. You feel like you don't deserve love because you feel like you're not real. Did you know that in order to be loved, you must first learn to love yourself? I am you, and you are me. I will always love you, just as you will always love me. You could even say I love myself, for that is what we both are. An identity has never been made up of a single aspect or entity after all. It's way more complicated than that. We are merely fractured parts of a whole being. It's time for us to go find Fawn and get out of this place. We are not two, you see. We are one, and it's time for us to get back to being that. No matter what happens, we are going to be just fine. Together, as we should be, the real replied. The fake Valencia finally understood. It was simply two halves of a shattered soul that needed to be brought back together. This wasn't a goodbye, this was simply a welcome back. Two halves brought back to one as a so-called real and fake Valencia's embrace one final time before the soul was finally healed and brought back to how it should have always been. Why? Nicole, sounds like a story of unity there. Your imagination for storytelling is a key part of the Groan Zone. That also sounds like an episode of Star Trek, and I'm talking the very first one, where Captain Kirk got split into two, an evil one, and a soft, kind, compassionate one. Only this story's a little bit different. However, guys, Admin Nicole isn't finished with this episode yet, for she has hit us with another round of facts, with fact burst number 2. Canberra Day. The origins of Canberra Day date back to 1913, when the city was officially named and founded by Lady Denman, the wife of then Governor General Lord Denman. Canberra was selected as a capital city as a compromise between two rival cities, Sydney and Melbourne. This decision ultimately aimed to provide a neutral and easy accessible location to accommodate the representatives of the different states. Today, Canberra Day symbolises the unity and collaboration between the states, paying homage to their efforts in shaping a shared national identity. Every year, the Canberra Citizen of the Year is named on Canberra Day. This citizen has been nominated for the title due to impressive contributions to the city and its people. Canberra is located on the ancient lands of the indigenous Ngunnawal people. That's Ngunnawal people. It is thought that Canberra's name means meeting place, derived from the Aboriginal word Canberra with a K. Useful facts there. And hi Australia. From facts, we jump that ship into another one with the audience groan. Marley, you're up. Hello Mr. E. I have a groan for you this week. Why is it when you order certain items to be delivered within a certain time frame, they don't arrive? It takes multiple phone calls and people to be told, nope, it has not been dispatched, still at production phase. Then all of a sudden, you get an email to say, yes, it's on its way. Don't people communicate properly anymore? Ah yes, Marley. The joys of miscommunication or lying to your customers. Good groan. If you want to send a groan in like Marley did, if you want to send any content suggestions, if you want to throw us a lucky or unlucky story, tell us a hero or zero of the week nomination, or any of the content you want to give something towards, you can do so on the following. You can join us on Discord at the Groan Zone, where we usually record every Friday night at 8:30 Greenwich Mean Time. You can drop Admin Nicole a Facebook message on Nicole Amos. You can drop me a Facebook message on Facebook Messenger under Mr. E. Groaner. You can also come on Facebook to Facebook groups and find us under the Groan Zone podcast. You can also join in the fun on YouTube, where these episodes are also played. Hi you groaners out there, if you're listening on, or sort of listening, half watching on YouTube. You can also drop a comment on any episode via YouTube and Podbean, perhaps even Spotify, and the comment will be reviewed. And lastly, almost lastly I should say, this leaves us to name our hero of the week. This is going to be a bit brief, groaners, so my apologies. The hero of the week accolade goes to the brilliant scientists who found a new way to get energy from waves in the ocean. All we need to not happen is the moon to explode, and this energy could be endless. Moving on now to the game answers. Give me the question first. Round 1. If you went for option A, how many people played Batman? That is correct. 11 different actors have played Batman. Round 2. Your answer was rutabaga. If you went for C, what is an American name for the vegetable known as a swede in the UK? You'd be 100% correct. Round 3. Your answer was 7. Your correct question, and this may be a bone of contention, 2 of them, after I wrote this out, were correct. But for the purpose of this game, only 1 of them is correct. And that is B. How many Alien movies are there in the franchise? I might be generous here, groaners. If you went for C, I'll give you half a point. Because of course Terminator 1 is set in 1984 and Terminator 2 is set in 1991. What's the difference between the years? 7 years, isn't it? I didn't realise that until after I'd wrote the game. So yes. In fact, take a point each, groaners, on me. Sorry about that. Talking nonsense. Round 1. Your nonsense was a roller coaster. Round 2. Your nonsense was a party mask. Round 3. Your nonsense was dancing. Lastly, for the game answers, admin Nicole's anagram from last week. If you haven't listened now, you'd best go and do it. The answer was shriving. That's S-H-R-I-V-I-N-G. Shrove Tuesday comes from the word shriving. Shriving means listening to someone's sins and then forgiving them. In the past, Christians would use the day to confess their sins. With luck, you lot out there scored points this week. If not, better luck next week, Groaners. We've got just enough time for one more game with Who the Hell Am I? Your clue is, he may have played Batman, but he dazzled in one role. The answer will come next week. Thanks for tuning in, Groaners. We'll be invading your ears again soon enough. Take care. Bye-bye. Mother Nature not being satisfied. B. What is a its appearances are only able to